Hello, I'm Dr. Brian Abelson from Kinetic Health. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a hamstring flexibility test, but before we do that I want you to understand some of the logic why hamstring flexibility is so important. Hamstrings, the muscles in the back here, three muscles, the semimembranosus, semitendinosus, and biceps femoris, when they tighten up and get restricted, they actually pull your pelvis backwards here. Now, what commonly happens is there's an imbalance between your quadriceps and your hamstrings. Usually a person will have really strong quadriceps and weak hamstrings. And we want to make sure that these are actually lengthened out so we can keep the pelvis in kind of a neutral position. The problem is that when we start moving the pelvis forward like this, is that we actually get the lumbar spine here to actually move forward a bit. There you go, Mickey, just bring forward a little bit. And it'll over-exaggerate the lumbar spine curvature. And this will cause some problems in terms of back pain. When the pelvis moves backwards, we're going to end up flattening out the back here, and we're actually going to lose our shock absorption ability. So it's really important that we actually have kind of a balance between the muscles in the front, the quadriceps and hip flexors, the primary hip flexors being iliacus and psoas, secondary hip flexors being quadriceps, and the hamstrings in the back. Now, another problem here too is that commonly we'll get tight hamstrings because glute muscles will be weak. These are your primary hip extensors and shock absorbers, your glutes. When these get overwhelmed, all the force goes on the hamstrings and they tighten right up. So let's get into the actual testing. Actually, first, just bring your leg up on one side. Good. Bring it back down. Bring the other leg up. Quite a difference between left and right side for you, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay. So this is really interesting because this is not the actual test. Normally we'd have a person bring their leg up and we look at it and we expect them to get to 80, 90 degrees, and that would be considered normal. But if we do this without doing a couple things, we're actually going to get a very inaccurate test. So what I'm going to have Mickey do is actually push her a little back into the ground. Good, excellent. Now bring up your right leg, all the way up. Good. Excellent. Come back down. So she's hitting 90 degrees here, normal range of motion. Now, let's have you push your low back down again. Now bring your other leg up. So you can actually bring this up a lot farther when you push it down, can't you? And down. So when we look at this, we see that Mickey has good symmetry. Left, right side, 90 degrees for both sides. If she doesn't push her low back into the ground, we get the appearance that actually she has a restriction on the left-hand side. What's actually happening here is she has a restriction in her low back and not the hamstring. So this will kind of eliminate and kind of reduce mistakes that could be made. A very simple test, but one that works quite effectively.